If you ever wonder how some people can listen to some songs and almost immediately and magically know how to play it on the piano, you've clicked on the right video. I'm going to teach you my method of playing by ear, and I'm also going to give you 3 homework tunes to work on so that even after this video you can work on that skill in your own time. The main skill that you want to develop when you want to play by ear well is something called relative pitch. Now let's talk about relative pitch for a second. This note is a C. C, thumb, C. Now that I've played C for you, are you able to, whether you want to sort of pitch it in your head or sing it out, what does D sound like? If I give you bum, what's the next note sound like? So C was bum. Now if you pitched D at bum, bum, D. Now if that was the pitch that you thought of or you sang it out, then you are correct. Now that we have C and D, da, dum, C, D. If I asked you to sing out what E is, are you able to do that? So again, I'm going to give you C, I'm going to give you D. What does E sound like? So the correct pitch for E is bum. So you had C, you had D, and another step up would be E, bum, bum, bum. I think you see where I'm going with this. I'm giving you some notes, and I'm getting you to use these notes sort of as anchor points or relative or reference points to try to, in your head, pitch or hear what the next note sounds like. We're going to skip F now. Let's jump to G. If I give you C, you also already know D is the sound. E is the sound. Let's skip F. What if I ask you to jump to G? What does G sound like? Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. What does G sound like? Some of you can do this pretty easily. Some of you just sort of need to think a little bit. I recommend beginners, just as I practiced this when I was younger, to sort of sing up the scale. So bum, bum, bum. And if I need G, all I need to do is sort of step all the way up to G. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. So the correct answer for G is bum. So this skill that you're working on right now, where you're using each note as a reference point for the next note, this is called relative pitch. Another similar way to think about it is also in terms of intervals. So the interval of, let's say, a C to an E, this is an interval of a third, bum, 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 and an interval of a C to a G, bum, bum, that's an interval of a fifth. 5 steps, bum, 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 bum. Now that we have some idea of how to use relative pitch and intervals, let's try to apply that to a real song. In today's video, I've picked a very popular nursery rhyme that you probably know. It's called Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Let's say that the starting note is C. You know, we know the song is Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, bum, 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 bum. So first step is we remove the lyrics and we just think about the pitches. Bum, 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 bum. I can tell immediately that the first 2 notes, bum, bum, they're the same pitches, aren't they? So we figured out that part. What's the next part? Bum, 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 bum. Now, I've been doing this for a while, so I kind of immediately know what the next note is. But for many beginners, it might be helpful to sort of count up the steps. Bum, bum. You know that the next note you need is bum. Why don't we count it up step by step? We know that the note we have is bum, and the next pitch we need is bum. So we can try to sort of sing it up. Bum, 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 bum. So that's a total of 5 steps. And if it was 5 steps, the next note naturally would be a G. Let's keep going. So far we have bum, 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 bum. The next note is bum, bum. Don't know if you can hear that, but the note is going another step higher rather than lower. Bum. Bum, 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 bum. You can hear from bum, bum. This note is now coming downwards. So playing by ear is all about listening out for how much each note goes up or down, whether it steps or skips. So give it a try. You might want to pause the video now and maybe go to the piano and try to figure out what the rest of the notes are. So far you have. Let's see if you can figure out the rest. Now the correct answers are C, C, G, G, A, G, coming down to F, F, E, E, D, D, C, G, G, F, F, E, E, D, Same thing, G, F, F, E, E, D. And then what happens here is a bit of a repeat of the start. If you listen to this. Bum, 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 bum. F, F, E, E, D, D, C. So roughly speaking, this is the skill of figuring out the melody that is usually played by the right hand. This is the distinctive and singable part of the song. Basic steps are, listen out for if the note is going higher or lower, and then try to use your relative pitch and to maybe even sing up and down the steps to count how much of a jump or how much of a step it is. After you figured out the right hand, it's now time to go to the left hand, which traditionally would normally play the accompaniment, or let's just say the sort of background or support or the chords that accompany the right hand. Let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being easiest and 10 being hardest, I would say figuring out what the right hand melody notes are by ear would be, let's say, a difficulty of between 3 to 4. I wouldn't say it's a 1 or 2 because it does take some time to kind of experiment and try to see which notes you need to play. But I also wouldn't say it's like a 7 or 8 because it is relatively doable, especially if you keep practicing this skill every day. Now, the left-hand part, this one is going to be a little bit harder. On the same scale, I would rate the left hand as having a difficulty of about 7 to 8. The left-hand chords or accompaniment that you need to play will be harder than the right hand because it will assume some basic music theory knowledge on your part. Without going too in-depth into it, in the world and the key of C major, we have a total of 7 chords, and the 7 chords are these. So we have chord 1, chord 2, chord 3, chord 4, chord 5, chord 6, chord 7, and back to chord 1. You can also call them C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, and B diminished. So chords 1, 4, and 5, 1, and then chord 4, and chord 5, these are the major chords within the C major scales. And chords 2, 3, and 6, these are the minor chords. You can hear they kind of have a darker quality. They're not as happy. And then number 7, which is used quite rarely, this is the diminished chord. Just for our simple Twinkle Twinkle Little Star exercise today, we're going to use only chords 1, 4, and 5, or they're also called C major, F major, and G major. In most songs, the first chord will be chord 1. So we already know that Twinkle Twinkle starts like this. So if I just play the chord 1, let's say just in crotchet beats, it will sound like this. Starting to sound pretty good. So within a song, chords need to change. We can't just have one C major chord for the entire song. It would be really, really boring. Listen to option 1 and option 2 and tell me which one sounds better. And now option 2. I'm hoping that you picked option 2 because option 2 is technically the more harmonically correct answer. So you could hear that in option 1, this part here, where when the right hand went to A and the left hand still stayed on the C major chord, sounded just a little bit off. Sounded like you could probably change it to make it sound a little bit more appealing. What I tried to do today is to go to the F chord, or you can call it the chord 4. And back to 1. So you might like to try this. So you have your right hand melody and you want to try to match chords that go along well with the right hand melody. So how do you pick chords? How do you pick chords that match well with the right hand melody? A good tip I have for you is to select chords that have the same note as the right hand melody at a specific point. So for example, how did I pick F there? So we have here, so we knew at this point I needed another chord, right? And the note I have was A. So then I think about, what chords in the C major diatonic scale chords did I have the notes A? There are a total of 3 options, okay? There was the D minor. D minor has D, F, A, so that's one option. Another option is F, A, C, okay? This is chord 4. Or another option is, this one has A2, A, C, E, which is chord 6. So let's try all of them, okay? If I do D minor first. Okay, let's try option 2. Let's try the last one. So just based on my ear and my experience, I concluded that chord 4 was the best fit for that scenario. Chord 4 and back to 1. So in conclusion, this is the skill you need. You need to use relative pitch to figure out what the melody is, mostly played by the right hand. And then you will also need some chordal knowledge and experience to try and figure out what chords match best with the right hand melody. Over time, once you get really good at recognizing the spaces and steps between notes, you get to play much harder things without even needing to read sheet music. So for example, let's say we're in the key of C major, and let's say I want to play, let's say, the Star Wars main theme. So maybe something like... So you could see here, bum, bum. We did that interval as well in Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Bum, 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 bum. C, G, C, D, E, F, G. Because I practiced playing by ear with Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and a whole bunch of other songs, I'm sort of so aware, and it's also imprinted in my head, this gap of bum, bum, that's a fifth. I can also go, oh, wait, in the Star Wars main theme, bum, bum, that's also the same interval. So as you play by ear more and more, and you develop this skill more and more, your brain starts to see all these different patterns, and you realize that a lot of these interval stuff that you do are all transferable to the next song. I've given you the starting steps for Twinkle Twinkle. Why don't you go ahead and try to finish the rest of the song for both hands, right hand and also the left hand. Now here are 3 other nursery rhymes that I want you to work on as well. I've given you the starting notes. See if you can figure them out too. Please let me know in the comments how you went with Twinkle Twinkle or any of these 3 other nursery rhymes. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more free piano tips and tutorials, and I'll catch you in the next tutorial.